Hi, fifth graders. Here I am again. I came inside just so we could kind of go over the lesson for today. One thing that I want you to remember is how a shadow is created is basically you need a light source, right? And where your shadow is cast, which means in what direction it goes in, it depends on where the sun is in the sky. So this morning, the sun, when we started this lesson, the sun was behind my daughter, right? And the shadow cast in front of her. We couldn't really see where the shadow was casting right now because the sun was behind the house and the house's shadow was cast over the shadows that we had. So that's one thing that you got to remember is you need in order to have a shadow, you need to have a light source. And wherever that light source is depends on how long or how short your shadow is. So here's a couple questions that I'm going to ask. First thing is, how do you create a shadow outside? So you're going to sit and think for a minute. How do we create a shadow outside? You stand in the sunshine where your body blocks the light source so that it can cast the shadow in whichever direction is in front of the light source. So if the light source is behind you, the shadow is going to be in front of you. If it's over here to the side, wherever my hand is, it's going to come down this way. If it's further above you, your shadow is going to be shorter. If it comes over towards the side over here where you can't really see my hand, your shadow is going to be longer. Let me see. How do afternoon shadows compare to morning shadows? Okay, we didn't really discuss, we didn't really see that, but we did see our 12 o'clock shadow, which is around the time we did it. Our shadows were a little bit shorter. Had we done it first thing in the morning, and maybe I'll do a quick little video showing like when we wake up, maybe we'll go look at our shadows and do another video to kind of show that. But the lower the sun is in the sky, so if it's like right here, your shadow is going to be cast a lot longer. But as your shadow, or as the sun goes up, your shadow gets a little bit shorter, okay? Why did your shadows change shape and orientation? So when we say orientation, that's the location of your shadow. So why does that change? I just explained that a little bit ago. The reason why it changes is because it depends on its position within the sky. So the lower it is in the sky, the longer your shadow is. The higher it is in the sky, the shorter your shadow is. So think about this real quick. What do you think the shadow might look like right before sunset? So that's when it's really low in the sky, right? It's just getting below the horizon. So how would that look? Well, we talked about that. If it's really low in the sky, then your shadow is going to be, think about it, it's going to be longer. And the higher it's in the sky, straight above you, your shadow is going to be shorter. Okay? So there's a couple things that I want us to review. Okay, one of them is, I'm going to review a shadow, and a shadow is a dark area created by an object that stops light. So the way you have a shadow is your body or an object blocks the light from going through, and that creates a shadow. Orientation is the position or arrangement in relation to an object or another position or location. So the orientation of your shadow, the position of it, depends on the orientation or position of the sun in the sky. Okay? So now, how and why do shadows change during the day? So that's the question you have to answer, right? How and why do shadows' orientations change throughout the day? So one reason it changes is the position of the sun in the sky changes. Now the sun isn't actually moving, it's the Earth's rotation that creates the illusion, sorry, my dog is barking, that the sun is moving. So wherever the sun is positioned within the sky depends on how long or how short or which location your shadow is. And the next thing is, sorry, my baby's crying. He's a little upset right now. The next part of that question is why or how a shadow always points away from the position of the sun. So the shadow's direction changes because the sun or the illusion of the sun moving is moving across the sky. So wherever it is, that affects where your shadow is, how long it is, and where it is cast. Okay? If you want to write your answer to the focus question of how and why does your shadow change during the day, go ahead and answer that. You could either type it up if you have a computer, or you can write it down, snap a picture, and email that to me. Thank you for participating.